What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Remember the Game. It is my retro gaming podcast. It is where every week a buddy of mine and I sit down and we geek out about the games we played back in the day. My name is Adam Blank. Thank you so much for listening to the show. And this week it is episode 318. And we are talking about a bona fide gem, a game as satisfying as an old slab of meat you find in a brick wall that refills your health somehow. Castlevania III, Dracula's Curse for the NES. Now listen, all right? If you'd indulge old man Blank here for a moment, I've been playing the NES since some of you were nay more than a twinkle in your father's eye, all right? I'm coming up on 40 years with this thing. Holy fuck me. And while I haven't played every NES game ever made, I have played a lot of NES, particularly a lot of the heavy hitters. I don't feel like there's very many holes left in my NES resume. When you add in nostalgia for some of the games that I just loved as a kid that maybe aren't that good, but I can't stop playing them anyways, it takes a really special game to claw its way onto my list of favorite NES games ever at this point. But you know what? Castlevania 3 did it. This game is magnificent. I love the original Castlevania on the NES, and this is just that game on fucking steroids. It really, I think I said it to Bradley in our conversation, but it really is like Mario Brothers 1 to Mario Brothers 3 is what Castlevania to Castlevania 3 is. It plays similar, but you have multiple paths you can take through it. It looks nicer. You can recruit additional playable characters that all have their own abilities. I've been told there are multiple endings. I have yet to see one. And on that note, of course, it retains that Castlevania NES tough difficulty that I just crave in my retro games. I don't know what's wrong with me. What a game, my friends. What a game. Our resident Castlevania fan, Bradley McCue, is my guest again this week, and we both agreed that Castlevania 3 is just spectacular. It's one of the best games on the NES, one of the best games in the Castlevania series, and one of the best games that we have covered here on Remember the Game in quite a long time. And we'll get to all that in just a few minutes, because speaking of being the best, it's time for another edition of the Remember the Game infamous intro. Dun, 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 dun! And if you're new to the podcast, welcome. Thank you for listening. Listen, consider this your warning. Our intros are a little bit long. They're fun. We talk video games and stuff. They're a good time. And they're sure as fuck a lot easier to get through than Castlevania 3 is. But if you do want to skip it, go to about the 30-minute mark. You'll be into the game conversation. We're off to the races. I have to plug it one more time. I mean, I'm probably going to plug it until the end of the year just because it's for the children. We have raised about $19,000 Canadian for the Stollery Children's Hospital with my Extra Life campaign this year. You still have time to donate. I'll be doing the prize draws. I have a ton of stand-up comedy dates in the next 2 weeks. I will probably be doing the prize draws the week of December 16th. So you've got about 2 weeks. If you get over there, if you donate $20 or more in your native currency, you'll not only get a tax receipt, you'll be entered to win some Remember the Game swag or a video game of your choice. So check it out. You can find it at rememberthegamepodcast.com. It's also where you can find all of our merchandise. Makes for mediocre Christmas gifts for those mediocre people in your lives. Check those out. Shout out to my man Joe from 4545 Creative for designing all that. And of course, the creme de la creme of my subpar wares, our Patreon. It's about the greatest deal in the history of the universe. We offer tons. We have 4 additional podcasts that go up over there ad-free. We have a Simpsons show Mark McCue and I host called Purple Buggy Dishwasher. I have a vlogging podcast called The Rambling Idiot where I talk about whatever I want. Game Patch is our gaming news show where we talk about everything going on in the world of modern video games. And Expansion Pass is just a little bit of everything each week. We do something different. It just depends on my mood every Thursday. It returned this last week with my Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom spoiler-free review. I was so excited for this game when it was announced. It's top-down Zelda that I love. You get to play as Zelda, which is badass. It has new mechanics where you're summoning these creatures and shit. And while it did deliver everything it said it would deliver, it just didn't do it that good. I had a lot of problems with this game. And as is becoming tradition, here is a sneak peek of last week's episode of Expansion Pass, my Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom review. And I sat on the couch and probably put about 5 hours into Echoes of Wisdom. And without that day and that marathon session, I don't know if I ever would have finished this game. Because every time I sat down to play it, like I had fun for an hour, but then I same thing. I found I had very hard time finding motivation to pick it back up. I will almost certainly never play it again. One of the big criticisms I think I have of it is not that most Zelda games don't have a ton of replay value. But this one, considering it's based practically entirely around puzzles, I thought it would have a little bit more replay because it'd be multiple ways to solve the puzzles and stuff. And there really isn't. Like, we'll explain it. It's hard for me to just jump all over the map. So I'll explain why I feel that way. But the things I listed, that it looks like Link's Awakening, that it's a different Zelda formula, that you get to play as Zelda, are all there. But they're all mixed results. And that's now available in our archives. And this week for Expansion Pass 237, the Patreons picked a Poison and modern games that would make great retro games snuck through the poll. So this should be fun because we all know there's an endless number of remakes and remasters these days of classic games. But what modern games would thrive with a demake to the NES, the Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis? That's what we're going to talk about on the show on Thursday. It should be a good time. So again, Patreon subscriptions start at just $3 per month. You get new podcasts every week, instant access to hundreds upon hundreds of archived bonus podcasts, and those are all ad-free. Plus, you can join the Remember the Game Discord, which is well over 1,000 members now. You get to vote on our Patreon polls, you get to submit comments to our shows, you get DM with me, you get discounts on merch, and you even get a shout-out and get to hear me mispronounce your name like I'm definitely going to do to at least one of these people. A huge thank you to our newest Patreons, Toon, Peyton Paruka, Brian, Willie Fistergash. I get it. Yeah, fucking. That's an unfortunate name. And Quethulu. That one might have gotten ugly. But thank you for the support, everybody. I appreciate you. Patreon.com/rememberthegame. Hell yeah. And I do stream on Twitch, but I'm going to be talking about it a little bit more in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be pulling back on my Twitch streams. I'm not the most frequent streamer to begin with. And the simple fact is the old dance card has just gotten too full and streaming's going to have to pay the price. So I do still stream and I do plan to continue to stream. Twitch.tv/rememberthegame. You can find lots of my Let's Plays at youtube.com/rememberthegame. But I'll be kind of sporadic now when I get on there. So, but I hope you can still come by. Just follow. It's free, or subscribe on YouTube. It's free. And then you'll know when there's new shit up. It's good times, all right? That's enough blowing myself. Let's blow some of you by blowing in some cartridges. It is our opening segment here on the show. I read a few comments and questions from our Patreons that are usually gaming related, but not always. And we call this segment Blowing in the Cartridge.
He blows all right. He blows big time.
That's it, honey. Get into the spirit.
Let's blow. Our first blower this week is Spurgeocalypse, who said, "Hey, mate, hope your time off was rejuvenating, and I hope you and the family are doing well." We are. Thank you. I was just wondering if you picked up anything from the Black Friday sales, gaming or non-gaming related. I picked up the new Diablo 4 expansion at 25% off. It's a bargain considering that it's pretty new. Yeah, a few people wrote in asking, Old Man Blank, what'd you spend your pennies on Black Friday? So I'll let you know. My big purchase was, all I bought was video games. I bought Stellar Blade for my PS5, which I'm playing through right now. Really, really enjoying it. It's a really good game. And then other than that, I mostly just kept my eye out for retro games for the show that were available for pennies on the dollar. On Xbox, I snagged Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2, not the re-released collection, but the OG versions, and a pair of Metro games. I don't remember what they're called, but I think they're the first two Metro games. I've never played any of them, but I got all four for like $8. So I just put them on the hard drive for potential future episodes. And then over on Steam, I picked up Secret of Monkey Island, which I need to play for probably the last episode of 2024. I picked up Enter the Gungeon just because I love that game. And I picked up Prey, which I also have never played, but it was like $2. And I thought, all right, I'll roll the dice. I'm trying to think. I think that's everything. I didn't do too much shopping this year. I got a new tattoo, or I got some work done on my tattoo last week. That was my indulgence, and it was not discounted for Black Friday, those bastards. The Big Deal wrote in and said, Adam, how confident are you that you could beat George Costanza's Frogger high score? And what arcade high score would you challenge him to beat and ultimately have to reenact to maintain? I would give myself a 2 out of 10 on my confidence to beat George Costanza's Frogger score. Frogger, I love old arcade games. Frogger has never been my jam. I love playing it. It has nothing to do with the funness of the game, but I just suck at Frogger. I don't know why. Maybe it's anxiety. I don't want the frog to get squished, but I've never been good at Frogger. So no way I'm beating George. And then if I need to set an arcade high score to challenge him to beat, I'm going with Miss Pac-Man. Miss Pac-Man's my girl. That's my game. So, and he wouldn't be able to. And then I'd have to hire Slippery Pete to install a battery to that cabinet to get it back to my house. If you haven't seen it, watch Seinfeld, for love of fuck. Adam's Lazy Fry said, hey, Adam, hope all is well. Last week you were singing the praises of the Penguin, so I fired it up to check it out for myself. I loved it so far, but I do have a question. Knowing your absolute admiration for human feet, I was wondering if you could share your reaction to seeing Oz's foot during episode 1. After I saw it, I immediately thought of you. Have a great day. Yes, I will sit here right now and just proclaim to everybody, if you have not yet watched it, for the love of God, watch the Penguin. It is so good. My God. And you don't need to see the Batman to watch it, although you will enjoy it a little more if you've seen the Batman. What a fantastic show. The ending was great. It was so... I mean, I don't know if I've even watched another new show in 2024, but The Penguin is my show of 2024. It is spectacular. That said, Adam's Lazy Fry is correct. I detest feet. Detest them. They are the most disgusting piece of the human body. I think they're appalling. So, to be honest with you, when I saw Oz's foot in episode 1, it didn't really bother me that much because I was like, I don't care if your foot is like crushed and disfigured or if you've got like foot model feet, the nicest feet ever made. I think they're all disgusting. There's not a foot, I promise you, there is not a foot on this planet that doesn't repulse me, my own included. They're just, all I think of is like they stink, they're sweaty, that like a corn chip smell, smelly socks, toe jam, ugly toenails. I don't care if your feet are like bronzed and polished and whatever the manicure or pedicure, whatever one it is you do to toenails, all that shit. I still think they're just, I hate your feet. So Oz's feet are just one in a pile of disgusting feet. Ah, gross. Seba said, hail to thee, good sir. I'm working my way through the backlog, and I just listened to an episode of Game Patch from 2021 where you covered the news that Epic Games had bought a mall. Then you proceeded to promise that Remember the Game Industries would buy its own mall by the year 2025. Seeing as it's almost here, and trusting that this was no mere joke, I'd like to inquire about the progress on this project. I don't remember promising I would buy a mall, but I'm a man of my word. I have entered into negotiations to acquire West Edmonton Mall. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to come to a deal because their asking price is lots and I have little, but negotiations are ongoing. So I'll keep y'all posted. Oh man, that'd be so sick. I don't even know what I would do if I owned West Edmonton Mall. First thing I would do if I owned West Edmonton Mall is I would bring Palladium back. Yeah, that's what I would do. And then also HMV, just for fun. Yeah, that's what I would, man. That'd be so fun. I always thought West Edmonton Mall would make a great, like, Tony Hawk Pro Skater level. Or like Zombies on Call of Duty. I think a mall would make a great level. Sir Teacups said, hey, Adam, apologies if you've answered this in the past, but I'm relatively new hot dog. Welcome aboard, Sir Teacups. You've been pretty out there saying that you aren't a big movie guy, and based on other non-movie people I know, you're probably even less of a fan of older movies. So I've always wondered, you often put people on double secret probation. Are you a big fan of the movie Animal House, which is where I know the phrase from? And if so, when did you first see it? And if not, where did you hear the phrase and want to start using it? Yes, good call, Sir Teacups. I get so many messages from people asking me, what is double secret probation? Or that it has now become double seeker probation around here because somebody thought that's what I was saying and I just thought it sounded good. But yes, if you don't know, the whole thing boils down to National Lampoon's Animal House. And the frat guys get put on double secret probation. I don't remember when I first saw it, but it's one of those movies I've probably seen fucking 50 times. I love that movie. And I don't know. I just thought it sounded cool, and that's where I started using it. So, yes, for all the people wondering about the origin, double secret probation is from National Lampoon, and then double seeker probation, which we use now, is just one of you didn't understand what I was saying. And it just made me chuckle. Voice cracks make me hard. Said, no wonder you enjoy my show. Said, I have to join the bunch of people thanking you for getting them into Slay the Spire. It has cemented itself as the palate cleanser of my current gaming sessions, being a game I always fire up after completing other games that take 50 plus hours or so. My question is, do you have a go-to palate cleanser between games that consume your life for weeks at a time? When I need because like obviously at all times I'm playing 5 or 6 games for the show, but yeah, when I finish something big and I just need to, or if I just want to kick back and relax, I normally go either I rotate between Slay the Spire and Into the Breach, a little bit of Balatro mixed in there on the side, or else I go to sports games. Like I'm really into EA Sports PGA Tour again right now. And I'll play like MLB The Show, or I'll play NHL, or I'll play WWE. Sports games are like my other just kind of kick back and relax genre. But yeah, Slay the Spire, Into the Breach, those games are just perfect for it. Oh man, I'm so glad so many people have discovered Slay the Spire. Warms my heart. Dr. Link says, hey, Adam, you have some pretty locked-in gaming opinions, like water levels are bad and boss fights suck. It's true on both those accounts. Have you ever 180'd on a hard gaming take in the past? Cheers from the doc. I thought hard about this one before I answered it. And you know the one gaming take that I think I don't know if I'd say I've 180'd, but I've like 120'd on, is probably the Nintendo 64 controller. Growing up with a Nintendo 64, I fucking hated that controller. And outside of playing multiplayer with my friends or wrestling games, I pretty much hated that system. And the more games I play for the show on my actual Nintendo 64 with that Nintendo 64 three-pronged fucking wheel of death controller of theirs, I still don't know if I like I still think it's an abomination of a design of a controller, but I really have come to appreciate just how well Nintendo 64 games were designed to work with the Nintendo 64 controller. So it's never going to be on my Christmas card list or on my favorite controller list of all time, but I really have started to warm up to that controller when I'm playing the right games with it. The other thing I would probably say is like, I went from hating, this is ironic. Well, I think most Nintendo 64 games work better with the Nintendo 64 controller. I also kind of turned around in my opinion of Mario 64, although ironically that was from playing it on the Mario 3D All-Stars release with my Pro controller and being like, hey, when you play this with a real controller, this works great. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just a fool. But that would probably be it. And then finally, before we move on, it's letter time. It's letter time. Super Koopa wrote in and said, hey, Adam, you've mentioned in the past that you never really played Castlevania growing up. In hindsight, what is one of the series you wish you had gotten into when you were younger? Mine are Castlevania and Mega Man. I never got into them until I was an adult. I would have loved these games as a kid. Castlevania is up there because the only Castlevania I played growing up was the OG one on the NES, and that was only when we would rent it. So Castlevania is up there. But if you ask me, what is the one series I wish I would have started playing earlier? Honestly, I think at this point it's Call of Duty, because Black Ops 6 is my very first Call of Duty, and I'm only playing it because it's on Game Pass. And, well, I will admit that I've kind of gotten a little tired of it in the last week or so. Like, I don't find myself playing it nearly as much as I used to, or as I was when it first came out. But I have really enjoyed it. I love multiplayer. I like zombies. I could leave the campaign, to be honest, but I really have had a lot of fun with it. And after spending my whole life being almost 100% staunchly against online multiplayer, Call of Duty's kind of turned me around. So I wish now that I was one of you that had grown up playing more Call of Duty back in my day. That would probably be the one. Yeah, I'll go with that. Good answer. All right. Thank you so much for all the submissions, everybody. We need to keep this ball rolling down the hill. So let's switch things up and get to our Smash Hit segment, the official game show of Remember the Game Industries. Play one, remake one, erase one. And a huge thank you to Classic Concentration from the NES for unknowingly providing us with the theme music for our show. The rules are simple. Every week I give our listeners 3 retro video games. They can play one as it was released, they can remake one as a modern game, and the third is erased from time forever. And as always, there are no wrong answers, but there is a right one. I'll tell you what it is in a minute. This week, since we're talking Castlevania 3, I went with 3 tough NES games that I love, and that's Ninja Gaiden, Mega Man 3, and Super Contra, Super C. This one was hard because I genuinely adore all 3 of these games. 32% of you said you'd play Mega Man 3, you'd remake Ninja Gaiden, and you would erase Super C. So let's see what a few of you had to say here, and then I'll tell you what the right answer was. David Phillips said, very hard this time. I'll play Ninja Gaiden, super difficult, but I know I'll beat it someday. I'll remake Super C. Contra really needs a way to get a new good game into this decade. And then I'll erase Mega Man 3. Of the original NES 6, I would miss this one the least. Plus, there are so many other Mega Man games to play. Listen, I understand the logic of erasing Mega Man 3 because there's so many Mega Mans, but a couple of you said that Mega Man 3 was the weakest or your least favorite of the 6. That floors me. Like, I personally, Mega Man 3 is my favorite of the original 6, followed by Mega Man 2. But I also prefer my Mega Man more traditional without the Mega Buster and stuff. That said, even if you prefer the Mega Buster and stuff, I'm genuinely shocked that anybody could slot Mega Man 3 behind Mega Man 1. But different strokes. Fair enough, David. Fair enough. I'm not going to argue with any of your logic. I agree, especially Contra. We do need a new good Contra game. I agree with that. Mega Jim said, well, Mega Man 3 is, in my opinion, the most playable of the 3 games here. It's also my favorite Mega Man game, so I really want a remake, especially if they could just continue the powered-up line. I'll play Super C since I've only played the original Contra, so it's due. And as for Ninja Gaiden, I've played it, I've beat it. I'm not really interested in playing it again, so on the chopping block, it goes. I like that you snuck in a little flex about beating Ninja Gaiden, but I would do the same if I could beat Ninja Gaiden. So I respect that. Yankee Doodle Randy said Ninja Gaiden would benefit the most from a remake, but there's no way I'm erasing the other 2, so sorry, Ninja. That leaves me to play Mega Man 3 because it's fine the way it is, and remake Super C, which is my favorite Contra game. It also doesn't need anything done to it, but you could give it some modern polish and call it a day. Super C is also my favorite Contra game. I can't bring myself to remake it. I can't do it. I just don't change anything. It's fine. It's just, I'd be afraid of breaking it. The only thing I would change if I remade, sorry, I'm jumping the gun here, but the only thing I would do if I was going to remake Super C is I would put in like without having to use the code, I would put in like an easy mode for players that want it. That's the only thing I would change. And Tony Pidwan said, you evil man, I would do them in this order and make you go through it with me. I'll play Super C because it's the worst Contra. You are double secret probation. Oh, God, I'm choking on my own rage here. Remake Ninja Gaiden and make it even harder, and every time you die, it just tells you to get good. And then erase Mega Man, make it a live stream that folks have to watch with the Capcom overlords boasting about how they can't understand what else to do with the franchise. I think that Mega Man is half a step from having that done to him because Capcom doesn't know what the fuck to do with that franchise. I'm going with the runner-up this week. I went with 18% of you, as did Jigsaw, who said play Super C because it's perfect the way it is. Remake Mega Man 3, but like how they did Mega Man 9 and 10. Eliminate the slide and have the game run smoother. That's all. And unfortunately, that leaves Ninja Gaiden to be erased. Great game, but them's the rules. Similar logic to me, and obviously the same order. I'm going to play Super C because Contra is at its best on the NES, and Super C is the best Contra. So I'm going to leave it on the NES and just play it as it is forever. I'm going to remake Mega Man 3, but I'm not going to go the 9 and 10 route. I'm going to get a little spicy. I would remake Mega Man 3 like Mega Man 11. As much as I love Mega Man, I like Mega Man 2, 3, and 9 more than Mega Man 11, but I've seen them in the 8-bit. I want to see what they could do with Mega Man and like the fancy new graphics. So I'll remake Mega Man 3 like 11, and then I'm going to erase Ninja Gaiden, and I hate to do it. If for all of you wrestling fans, remember when Shawn Michaels beat Ric Flair at WrestleMania to make him retire for like the 20th time, and Shawn Michaels goes, I'm sorry, I love you, and then he kicks Ric Flair and pins him? That's how I feel with Ninja Gaiden. I'm sorry, I love you. And then in my case, my finisher is the famouser, the blank expression, and then I pin him. So thank you, everybody that wrote in as always. What have I been playing over the last 7 days, you might be wondering? Stellar Blade has been one of the 2 big games that I've been playing lately. Really, really enjoying it. It's going to get a review on Expansion Pass, hopefully sometime in December. I think it's a late candidate for my Game of the Year finalist list, as is Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl, which I know some people are skipping because of glitches. I said it last week. I haven't run into a lot of glitches yet, nothing too crazy. I'm really, really enjoying Stalker 2. It's really fun. And then I'm playing EA Sports PGA Tour. I'm back on the golf grind. I can't stop. I have a problem. Call of Duty, I was playing, but it's kind of gotten pushed to the back seat a little bit. I still hop in on occasion, but I just don't. I think Stalker 2 has replaced Call of Duty for my first-person shooter fix lately. And then for retro stuff for the podcast, I've been playing Rocket Knight Adventures on the Genesis. Great game. There's a review coming up on that in 2 weeks is what we're shooting for. And then I've been replaying. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I've been replaying a classic JRPG for an upcoming episode of the show. I actually had a hankering for an RPG, but I'm not going to tell you which one it is. You'll have to fucking wait and find out, all right? Here's what's going to happen. I need a drink of water. We're going to pause here. We're going to let a sponsor in to do their thing, and when they're done, it's all Castlevania 3 the rest of the way out, okay? We'll be right back after this. This is an ad by BetterHelp. A band once said, "Work sucks, I know." And I think most people agree with them. Workplace stress is now one of the top causes of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce experiencing higher than normal levels of stress from their jobs. And while walking away from your job might not be an option, taking a little time every day to focus on yourself and your mental health can make a huge difference. I know in the summer I try to get outside every day, get a little bit of sun, and just enjoy the outdoors. It really helps. at least until my allergies attack, and then it's ugly. It's important to take steps to combat work stress, and therapy can be a huge one. It's not just for overcoming trauma. Therapy can help you define work goals, set some work boundaries, develop coping skills. It's like a cheat code for life. And if you're thinking, man, I'm too busy for therapy, well, look into BetterHelp. They make therapy as convenient as possible. You can meet with one of their over 30,000 therapists online and on your schedule, just like over 5 million people around the world already have done. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/rememberthegame. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/rememberthegame. We've had some great partners over the years here at Remember the Game, but I don't know if any of them have hit home for me quite like Hometown Hero does. No pun intended. Don't start. It's a transparent, honest cannabis company that helps people and gives back to those that have served their country at the same time. I mean, come on. As soon as I read about these guys, I knew I wanted to work with them. Hometown Hero is a cannabis company out of Austin, Texas, and they were founded back in 2015 by a U.S. veteran. They have two goals: create premium hemp products that can help everyone, and to support veterans by donating a portion of those profits to organizations set up to take care of those who have served. Hometown Hero products are of the highest quality, and everything they offer is made right there in the U.S. of A. Gummies, caramels, chocolates, drink mix. There's something for everyone. And what's more, their hemp is grown locally in Texas, which is something they should and do take a lot of pride in. And they offer certificates of analysis for everything they sell because they want to be clear that their products are as advertised, both in terms of potency and ingredients. No contaminants, you get what you pay for. Just how they conduct business is enough to get my good eyes' attention. But when you circle back to the fact that the company was founded by a veteran and they put such heavy emphasis on supporting veterans, this isn't just lip service. I'm not reading a script I was given here. I'm proud to have Hometown Hero associated with Remember the Game. Reclaim your evening. Visit hometownhero.com and use code RTG to take 20% off your first purchase. That's hometownhero.com, code RTG for 20% off your first purchase. All right, let's talk some Castlevania III, baby. As always, I like to let you nerds sound off on the game we're covering before my guest and I hog the microphone. No shortage of comments this week. People have been on me to play this one for years, and now I get why. We'll go through a few of them here. Johnny from Virginia said, I'm super glad you're playing through this game. Great music. I love that there are multiple paths, characters with different abilities and different endings. It's just hard as hell. It is. I have not seen any of those endings because this game is hard as fuck. This one's harder than Castlevania. I can beat Castlevania 1 with a lot of swearing. This one has just bent me over a barrel. This one has hated me. Super Garbage Day said, wait, the cover art for Castlevania 3 says, win a trip to Dracula's hometown. Did that ever happen? I actually wondered that myself because back in these days, like this was like 1989, 1990. They could have easily, there's no social media. They could have just been like, oh yeah, we sent Sean from Ass Clown, Missouri to the hometown. And he had a great time. We never came back. Never came back. Sapolsky said, I didn't discover this game until much later, but I instantly fell in love with it. I had tried emulating it, but there's a read issue with this ROM on certain emulators. The additional characters were a great touch. Alucard for the win. Agreed. It added a different dynamic and encouraged different approaches to playing, plus the Dracula fights were hard as balls, but really fun. I didn't emulate this one. I played it on the Castlevania collection. So I don't know. Maybe I didn't know that. All right. Yeah, there you go. Hokey Riff said, I have a lot of fond memories of Castlevania 3. This is one of those games where I just had to get good, and when I did, this game was beatable in what felt like 45 minutes. For the record, just to cut into Hokey's comment, like I've said it before, but that's why so many NES games are that tough. Like Ninja Turtles, Castlevania, Contra, Batman, insert your favorite tough NES game here. Because if they weren't tough, you'd beat them in an hour and be pissed off. So it's artificial lengthening of the game with the difficulty. Hokey said, I love the choose your own adventure style with the different paths you could take through the castle, and the introduction of other playable characters was an unheard of addition at the time, which included, in my opinion, one of the greatest characters of all time, Alucard. This is also the Castlevania, there's a voice crack. This is also the Castlevania that started my love affair with the franchise and has me jumping at every chance I get to play more Castlevania. Yeah, I mean, you'll hear. I've always said my favorite Castlevania that I've played is Super Castlevania 4. Does this one surpass it? Replace it? I don't know what word I'm looking for. I have to listen to find out. And TBO Castlevaniac said, such a gem with great music and gameplay. The branching paths and secondary characters give it a lot of replayability. Its biggest issue is its difficulty. It took me a lot of patience properly beating this one. Luckily, there are infinite continues to keep you going. I love that. Castlevania did that as well. Infinite continues is where it's at. I don't mind if you make your game hard as all shit. Just let me keep continuing. And we have ourselves an agreement. I'm a huge fan of that. And that's the difference between games like this and then, I don't know, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but like, I guess like Contra's up there. Like the non-infinite continues. Although, I don't know, Contra's not as hard as Castlevania. In my opinion. Contra's hard, but it's not Castlevania hard. Anyways, let's get it. We're not talking Contra. We're talking Castlevania. It's time to talk Castlevania 3 with my boy Bradley. I am going to cue up some of that phenomenal music. And when it stops, Bradley and I are taking you to Castlevania III, which originally released on the NES back in September of 1990. Enjoy the podcast, everybody. Let's go. All right, joining me via the blank phone this week is a man who is no stranger to Remember the Game. And not only are you not a stranger to Remember the Game, I've come to the conclusion you're not a stranger to Castlevania, because every time we go to this series, you're the guy that's on deck. It's Bradley McCue. Bradley, I'm going to ask how you are, but I am also just going to throw out there, I'm a little bit nervous that you perhaps are a vampire, because your love of this franchise, it's not like major concern, but it's like I would not let you wash my neck.
I've got terrible news for you, and that is I simply am not legally allowed to reveal any more on that subject.
I get it. I understand. I don't need the fucking goddamn origami, whatever the fuck they're called, coming down on me because I'm questioning the existence of vampires now. So you're right. You know what? We should just start this episode over.
How you doing, bud?
I'm doing okay, man. How are you?
I am doing really, really well. Excited to talk Castlevania. I spent the last few weeks rinsing this game, but of course it's been one I've played a handful of times.
Buddy, I have played this game pretty obsessive. I played it like a ton while I was on my break, and I haven't stopped. I'm not ashamed to admit that I have not yet beat it, but that isn't out of lack of trying. And I will, if I can beat Castlevania 1 fair and square, I will beat this game. But I've come to two conclusions. All right, number one, this is one of the toughest NES games that I've ever played.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. And number two, I said this to you in a text the other day. I am now the conclusion that there are two people in this planet. People that think Castlevania 3 is a masterpiece and one of the best games on the NES, and people that have never played Castlevania 3. Because
exactly.
My buddy, like Castlevania 1 is fantastic. Castlevania, where are you on Castlevania 2?
You know what? I think it gets a lot of hate. I really like Castlevania 2, but I will admit that a lot of the flaws that people point out about Castlevania 2 are totally valid. The game is insanely cryptic. You pretty much have to use a walkthrough, and in 1988, who the hell had a walkthrough?
Yeah.
But once you get past that, and you kind of just like, if you use a walkthrough to just kind of navigate yourself to the points you're supposed to be at, the game itself opens up quite a bit. It's actually not a bad Metroidvania style game. Just like a few things. I think like the having to get a specific orb and then hit another orb with a spear and then crouch down and wait 8 seconds for a tornado to come and drag you to the next level. That's a little unreasonable.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I haven't spent, I'll be honest, like I've probably collectively spent 3 hours of my life playing Castlevania 2. I've started it 3 or 4 times and been like, what the fuck is this? I absolutely think it was a game designed with the Nintendo hotline in mind. That they were like, we're going to make bank because people are going to have to call us because no one's going to figure this fucking game out. I would like to go back to it and give it another shot at some point, though, just to see if it's as odd as I think. Because at this point now, like I've played Castlevania 1, 3, Super Castlevania 4, and Castlevania Bloodlines on the Genesis. And up until now, I've always thought that Castlevania 4 on the SNES was my favorite. I'm gonna let that one stew for a while now, because Castlevania 3 is this. I hate to use this comparison, but Castlevania, like the Castlevania trilogy on the NES, is the Super Mario Brothers trilogy on the NES. Like,
yeah, 100%. Like, it's
right, like,
as iconic in my opinion.
yeah, and like 1 is like, it's good, we're figuring out what this series is gonna be, and then 2 is fucking weird, and then 3 is like, remember 1? We just like spit shined and expanded everything we did there.
Yeah,
And
going back to the form of the linearity, while also still having like the branching path system.
yeah,
I think was a really good departure. I think that second game mustn't have reviewed well. I wasn't around. I wasn't even alive when that game came out, but I'm gonna assume it didn't review incredibly well, and they were like, "Well, I guess we gotta go back."
yeah, I would have to. It's just like with Zelda, like Zelda
And
1
Mario.
was right. Like Zelda 1 was Zelda 1, Zelda 2 was that weird one, and then they went back to Zelda 1 with Link to the Past and Link's Awakening, and it kind of feels the same way. That said, no complaints here. Like, I gotta be honest, dude. Like, I usually start these off by talking about the things I don't like about a game. The only thing I don't like about Castlevania 3 is the exact same thing I don't like about literally every other Castlevania I've ever played. The knockback and the fucking stairs make me crazy. And
The
that has
stairs,
not changed.
the stairs are particularly. I think that this is, of all the linear Castlevania games, I agree that it might be the best. I'm a little partial to Bloodlines, but I agree that this one might be the best. But I've also never beat it. I've tried many, many times. I have gotten to the last boss of this game. Have you gotten to the last boss of this game, Adam?
I've gotten to shortly past the part where all the bricks are falling from the sky and it's really tedious, and
Mhm.
you know the pattern and you just have to slowly climb your way up.
The last
Um,
boss of this game, in my opinion, is also unreasonable, and I've never been able to figure it out. Pretty much every opportunity you have to attack is his opportunity to attack.
of course.
It's
Now,
really insanely difficult.
I'm not going to speak for Bradley, but I'm going to say here, particularly when it comes to reviewing NES games, very rarely do I hold the difficulty against them, because it's the
Yes, I
NES.
agree.
Like, if you want to play an easy NES game, go play Little Mermaid. Like most little NES. Which, by the way, I remember first game that ever happened to me. I rented that as a kid and beat it the first time I played it. And I was
Little
pretty proud of
Mermaid.
myself. The Little Mermaid, yeah, good game, but I
I've
beat it the
never
first
never
time I played
touched
it.
it.
Good game, good movie, good game. But I don't hold toughness against NES games for the most part. It's different when it's like Blaster Master. That game is fucking broken. That game can go fuck itself. Like games like that, it's different. But
Yeah,
most of the time,
or like
like,
Jekyll and Hyde or things like that.
right, like we've all played NES games that are just brokenly difficult. I don't get the impression that Castlevania 3 is brokenly difficult. I get the impression that they're like, hey, let's just make it really hard so that people don't beat it, the first weekend that they have it, much like Castlevania 1. And that's fine. Like, I'm totally down with it. I will, like, I don't even want to rant about it at this point because I've done it on like 5 or 6 episodes of the show. What is with the stairs in Castlevania? Why do they have to be so difficult to navigate, but then completely invisible when you need them?
And sometimes it's like you have a hard time actually getting onto the stairs, and you have to do a little jig. And
Yeah.
there is a point in this game where the stairs are so truly tedious. And I think it's in like the third or fourth level, and you're going up this really long staircase, and on either side, the entire way up, are those dragon heads that spit fire at you. And so you're like inevitably gonna get hit by the fire. Oh, dude, I was having a
Ugh,
field day.
buddy, it's fucking, I gotta say, again, my only real complaint about this, I ran into numerous instances in this game where it was even something as little as like those red skeletons that don't stay dead. Like, they'd be walking around either the base or the top of a set of stairs, and I would take them out. But then I climb the stairs so slowly that, like, they're going to hit me. Like, I can't not get hit by them when I'm on these fucking stairs. And that's not even to factor in the instances where you try to climb down them, and like, I know to go to the top of the stairs and then push down, and then he'll walk down the stairs. But there's still instances where I know what's wrong with me. I walk off the edge of the platform to the stairs, thinking that I'll just land on the stairs, and then I fall through and fucking die. Or it takes me 3 minutes to climb up the set of stairs, and then an enemy hits me and bounces me back to the stairs. And you're thinking like, well, if there's one thing this man has proven, it's his ability to very slowly climb a set of stairs, but not if you're knocked onto them, because then it might as well just be a pit, and you fall right through and die, and then you got to hike up the fucking stairs again. And I get that, like, again, I feel like I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth because I get that difficulty is part of NES games and it extends them, and I think it's part of their charm. But I very rarely will I rage at a Castlevania game because I've taken too much damage and I've run out of health, other than when I'm stuck on a boss. But when I get knocked back and then just get knocked through a hole or a set of stairs or something, that's when Angry Adam starts to come out. That is just such an infuriating way to die in these fucking games.
When I was playing this game the last few weeks, I would play it for like 45 minutes at a time because I'd be like so frustrated that I'd be like, if I don't stop playing this game, I'm gonna be mean to somebody. I'm definitely gonna be super mean to somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. It is not, and I'll tell you, like, I've beaten Castlevania 1. I'm going to throw in a plug, youtube.com/remember the game. I have a full playthrough of Castlevania 1 in one run. I didn't cheat. I just used infinite continues, which come with the game, and I beat the game, and I did it, and I was proud of myself. This game is better than Castlevania 1. It's longer. We'll get into the expanded pass and the other characters and shit like that. I do find this game significantly harder than the first one, which is saying something.
It's way harder. In my opinion, this is the hardest Castlevania game. Maybe besides the N64 ones, but those ones are broken hard.
Sure. That's just most of the 64.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that. Of all the Castlevanias that I have played, I think this is the hardest one. I agree with that. Yeah. It's just they're like but the thing, I don't know, it's so good and it's so fun and it's so fun to play, but it just feels like the game is like, I'm going to fucking destroy you. Like,
the game is constantly threatening you and you're kind of like, oh yeah, and then the game is like, yeah, back, and you're like, sorry.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So if you've not played it, it really is Castlevania 1 on steroids. Same graphics, same art style, but better. We'll get into graphics are great, music's great, plays good minus the fucking stairs and the knockback. The two big changes to Castlevania 3 from Castlevania 1 are multiple paths. And you run into several instances in this game where you'll beat an area, then the map will show up on the screen, and then whatever character you're controlling, and because that's the other thing, is there's multiple characters, which we'll get to. But whatever character you're controlling will walk up to like a fork in the road, and usually it's like you can go downstairs or upstairs, and it becomes two different paths. And a lot of the time, those paths will lead you to the same place. I'll just be they're a different route to get there. And I gotta just say, buddy, first and foremost, tip of my cap to Konami for that, because the amount of replay. You like, once you know how to beat Castlevania, you just walk through Castlevania. But
I started 2 different playthroughs specifically for this podcast so that I could talk about like this path and this path.
Is that right, dude? I felt so dumb because I was like, I've been playing it on both my NES Classic and on the Castlevania collection, and I had a save on, I think, the Castlevania collection. And then I fired it up on my NES Classic, and I was like, well, I want the vampire as like my sidekick, which again, we'll get to that in a second. And I could not for the life of me remember the paths I took the last time, because and I was like, this doesn't look right. I don't think I've been here before. But dude, what a banging value. It's one thing to keep in mind too. This is back in the NES days when a lot of us had like 10 games. So if this was one of your games, not only was it hard enough to kick your ass for months, but if you ever did finally get good enough to beat it, it was like, all right, now go tackle a different path. Or do it with a different character.
It's like they packaged 2 Castlevania games into one cartridge. It is truly genius.
It really is. Like, it feels like 2 or 3 times the game of Castlevania 1. It's fucking wild. It's not like the thing, if you've never, it's not quite like an overworld map where you're picking your choices and going down different, like, it's basically just a couple of forks in the road, but it's still like, it's every one of those forks leads to a different set of levels. I think each of those areas is like 9 or 10 levels long. And they had to design all of them.
And they all, like, they have, when you're at the fork in the road, there's kind of like pictures that will give you an idea of what kind of levels you're choosing from.
Yeah.
I as often as possible opted to stay the hell away from the clock tower level. I did have to do it once, but boy, I hate that level so much.
Dude, I did that clock tower level, and then like you get all the way to the top, and then you get the fucking like hunchback guy. And then it was like, all right, now hike back down the clock tower.
Did you get like
something else, like the gears? Like there's like a gear level where I had to climb all the way to the top.
That's the one, the gears where they'll spin around and then just dump you right off in the fastest possible fashion. You're just like, suddenly he's in a hurry.
Yeah, yeah.
to fall into that pit. But if he's on
Yeah.
those stairs, no urgency here.
But then when you get to the top, you get the guy that can like run fast and like climb walls. But
Yeah,
then the only
Grant.
time I ever
Yeah.
got him, I was like, so now what do I do? And then I was like, do I just climb back down? Is there a way out that I couldn't find? Because I climbed all the way back down and then did the different route, but with him.
Uh, no, I remember getting an orb at the end of that level.
Maybe I'm just stupid. I beat it. Like I beat the level. I got him, and then I couldn't figure out where to go. So then I just climbed back down the sprockets. And I was like, all right, I guess I'll go the other way. But I was like, because that's the other thing is like, there's these different paths and we'll get into some of the specific levels and shit. But in addition to that, there's 3 additional party members you can get. And you can only have one of them as like your sidekick at any given time. And one of them is that I'm not going to lie to you, Bradley. We talk about this every time we talk Castlevania. I have no fucking idea what the story is. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like but the floor is yours. If you know anything about any of these characters, I would love to hear it.
I got great news for you because this one's insanely simple. This is Dracula has resurrected from the dead. And if you watch the opening scroll, it says something so funny. It says that his Dracula's new mission is to turn the world into a bad world filled with evil. That's it. That's what you got. So Trevor Belmont is trying to destroy him, and he does destroy Dracula, and he does also recruit Dracula's son, Alucard, who is, of course, the main character of Symphony of the Night. That's like the vampire character you get. And then also...
Oh, I did not know. Okay, so wait. So the vampire guy you recruit in this game is Dracula's son and the guy you play as in Symphony of the Night?
Correct.
Well, look at this, puppy. We're learning today. We're connecting the Castlevania dots. All right, continue, please.
Alucard is just Dracula backwards.
Holy! I was this many years old when I learned that Alucard is Dracula backwards. I'll be damned if you aren't wrong. Who the fuck names their kid just their name backwards? What a lazy fucking name.
A true psychopath.
My name is E-Reg.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Hello, now, one thing, there are like a few things that I think that I don't love about this game. There's one particular level where you're in a forest and there's a lot of pits, and then these owls come out of nowhere.
Fucking owls, buddy!
Hate them.
It could, like they're like in the background, and the backgrounds of this game are awesome, by the way. But they're in the background, and these little beady eyes show up in the background, and then like there's like a 2-second window before a full-bodied owl appears, and then it dives at you. And as long as you nail the timing of jumping up and hitting them right as their full body appears, they don't even get a chance to attack, and you're off to it's fine. But the minute you miss one, it's you're just like, for fuck's sakes, because now it's just flying around causing havoc. And I think those owls, I hate them.
I think the owls have replaced Medusa as my least favorite Castlevania enemy.
They're such a pain in the ass.
And in this game, they don't ease you into the Medusas at all. Medusas are in the first level.
Yeah,
like, cut me a break.
Yeah. This one plays like they're like, hey, we assume you've already played Castlevania 1. Like, you need to know what you're in for here. I agree. I hate those fucking owls. I hate them so fucking... I hate just about any flying enemy in Castlevania. Like, I hate the Medusa heads. I fucking hate the crows. I just don't like flying enemies in these games. But those fucking owls... And it's so weird because, like, if you nail the timing of just killing them as you go through, it's so easy. But all it takes is one hiccup. I have the hiccups now. Fuck. That's fitting. One hiccup and you're dead. Because they just start, because you're right, there's holes fucking everywhere too. Fuck those owls.
Yeah, it is truly an infuriating. Now I want to ask you, did you like spend a lot of time with the other characters besides Trevor?
Yeah, I did. I used all 3 pretty substantially just so I could be ready for this podcast. So Trevor is the fucking guy that you get. So Trevor's the main guy, and he just plays like classic Castlevania. He's got a whip that he can only whip in one direction, and then
it upgrades when you pick up stuff.
Yeah, classic. And then there's the hunchback guy. He's like a pirate or something that we were talking about earlier at the top of the clock tower. And he runs faster, and he's got like better jumps, and he can climb up walls. Which when I first unlocked him, I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Because I always like the speedier characters. But I have to say, of the 3, I found him the most useless.
I agree. I agree. The hunchback is awful, and I almost never use him.
Yeah, no, he sucks. I didn't want him.
I wonder with the Hunchback, because it's like supposed to be all callbacks to like classic Hammer horror and stuff. Like if that's like a callback to the original like Hunchback of Notre Dame movie.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. But that guy, like, I was stoked when I got him, and then I was curious to see. Like, keep in mind, everybody, this game came out in 1989. Like, this is NES. So, like, when you get Knuckles in the Sonic games, you're like, holy shit, I can go and explore and climb walls like I've never been able to climb before and stuff. And I kind of was hoping that's what he was gonna be, but it really isn't. Like, I don't know about you. I don't know if I ran into an instance where his wall climbing was even useful.
No, I didn't.
No.
Not even once.
What a piece of crap. So he sucks. I will say the middle character is despite the fact that they say, do you want to take him with you? I thought it was a sorceress, and it is. Sypha? Is that how you say it?
I think so, but I believe
warlock.
Sypha's a man, isn't he?
The Wikipedia page right here says young sorceress with powerful magical elements at her disposal. But the game says take him with you. So I have no fucking idea. I don't know.
But that's a mystery. That'll remain a mystery.
They were pretty progressive in 1476, which according to Wikipedia was when this game happened. So maybe it was they. I don't. Anyways. Yeah. So there's like a wizard you can get who the physical attack is awful. It's like this tiny little wand that doesn't do anything.
I hate it.
But I will say when you can get enough hearts, because like it's got the classic Castlevania thing where you pick up hearts and then you get secondary weapons and your hearts are your ammo for it. And with the wizard, witch, warlock, whatever the fuck she is, she gets like magic spells that she can cast with those. And as long as you have enough ammo, like enough hearts to keep the magic spells firing, she can be pretty useful. But it's completely reliant on having enough ammo for the hearts or for the magic.
That leads us to, you know what? I find the wizard is fine, useful at times, but like, correct me if I'm wrong. I might be misremembering this, but doesn't the wizard have like half of a health bar?
Well, they all share health, and that's one of the problems I have with this. Like, not problems, but that's one of the things I like. I love Ninja Turtles on the NES, and one of my favorite things about Ninja Turtles is that you have 4 different turtles with 4 different health bars, and part of the strategy is like swapping out turtles to make sure you manage your health properly. I really wish, because at any time you can have one partner in this game, and you push select to transform into them, but you always share your health. And I wish that you could and I don't think it would make the game too easy, because the game is not fucking easy. I wish you could swap and have separate health for each character, and then if their health bars were different lengths, I wouldn't have had a problem with that. But just something,
I must have not noticed that, because I thought that they all did have different health bars for some reason until this very second.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. Well, you're probably good. You're always switching when it was full anyways.
Well, you can ask my wife about the amount of screaming that happened in my house this week. I don't know I'm good.
This is a tough game. But then Alucard is the third.
Alucard. He's OP.
Everybody has is there any, unless you're doing I gotta say, I love Mega Man, but you people that are like, I'm doing a Mega Buster only run, you people are fucking sadistic. You people that do Legend of Zelda runs where you're like, I'm not picking up any hearts. I'm like, I've never been good enough to have to worry about doing something like that.
Why would you want to do that?
Yeah. I'm like, as far as I'm concerned, playing Castlevania 3 with any sidekick that isn't Alucard is doing the Buster only 3 heart run. Yeah. I can't imagine, because he is so OP. Like, he's to the point where once I unlock him, I use him more than Trevor.
Yeah, me too. And you want to know the biggest thing that I do with Alucard is if I get stuck on a room that's too hard, I will just straight up turn into a bat and skip it.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Alucard is that so the pirate hunchback guy, they say he's fast and he jumps better, but really his power is he can climb walls. And the sorceress, at the end of the day, really their only ability is that if you've got enough ammo, they can shoot fire. Alucard, can turn into a bat, which does cost your little hearts, but it goes so slow that it doesn't really matter. So he can turn into a bat, just fly over things or fly past enemies, or that part where you need to climb those fucking bricks. As long as you know where the bricks are falling, you just turn into a bat and fly up there and they're done. But then he can turn into a bat and fly, which on its own would make him the most useful character in the game. He also has an attack that, when fully powered up, becomes the fucking spread gun from Contra.
Yeah, it's way easier to play pretty much any section of the game as Alucard, in my opinion.
Every part, like, because like I love in Super Castlevania 4 when they introduce the whip that you can whip in like 8 different directions, but that's not in this one. You just have one straight line whip. Whereas Alucard at first just shoots one ball of, I don't know what it is, fucking plasma or some shit, like out of the front of him.
Yeah.
But then as you pick up the level up whips, now he shoots 2 and then he shoots 3. So then you don't even have to be lined up with the enemies you're fighting. You can just mash attack and just be shooting the spread gun out. And then like Bradley said, when you get yourself in trouble, turn into a bat and fly away. It's just like, it's I'm a little bit, I don't know. I was really excited to play it knowing that there were like 4 playable characters. And then after using all 4, I was like, oh no, there's really 1.5 playable characters. It's Alucard and Trevor gets you to Alucard.
Yeah, exactly. So, and
yeah.
And you know what? Like, I also just really enjoy playing Trevor. I typically will play most of it with Trevor, even if I have Alucard, because Trevor's so useful, I think, and he feels like classic Castlevania. It's a nostalgia thing. Yeah, I'm wrong, but it's a nostalgia thing.
Well, and there is something to be said for, like, Trevor obviously is got his whip and everything, which when fully powered has got a lot of distance to it. And then there's something to be said for like the Castlevania tried and trues, the cross boomerang, the holy water, the axe that arches up in the air. Like, they're the weapons we've been using for a couple of games now. We know how they work. I'll just ask, do you have a favorite secondary weapon for Trevor?
I really like the axe for the most part. Like, especially like for a lot of the bosses, I find the axe really useful. Like, I don't know, did you get to the winged demon boss that turns into like a giant head that just kind of looms above?
Yes.
Yeah, that one's like, that one, the axe is really, really useful for. The death fight is where the axe is the most useful, I think.
Yeah, I find it's funny because I find the axe minimally effective when it comes to fighting the standard enemies, but when fighting bosses, the axe is cash money.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, I've gotten to the final boss of this game. I think it has a few phases, but I've only ever gotten to, like, I think honestly maybe the first phase. It's so hard, where he corners you and then hits you with a giant pillar of fire. But I think there's other phases to it that are easier than the first phase. But like, even in that boss fight, if you have axes, it's 10 times simpler.
Yeah, that axe is money. The only problem, and this has always been an issue for me, a minor issue. The only issue with the secondary weapons in Castlevania is that you, like, quickly on in the game, you kind of become trained to take out like every candle you see. But then a lot of them, like, I get close to them to destroy them, just assuming it's going to be more hearts for me to pick up. And then I'll accidentally hit like a dagger or the stopwatch and pick it up by accident when I have a weapon I want, like the axe, or my second favorite is the boomerang cross. And then I'll accidentally pick up something else and just be like, for fuck's sakes. It's like Super Ghouls and Ghosts, where it's like, once you get a hold of the weapon you want, you need to start almost going a little bit slower to protect yourself from accidentally swapping out to a shitty weapon instead.
And I don't mind the dagger. And I like the boomerang as well. But the stopwatch is a nightmare. If you pick up the stopwatch, you might as well just press reset.
Yeah, the stopwatch is fucking, like, there is a very, very rare instance where the stopwatch comes, like, if you're trying to hike up a bunch of stairs and you can freeze the Medusa heads or something for a few, like, sure. But it is so rarely useful that it's like, you're not worth the chance of carrying you around. Like,
yeah,
the holy water is more useful than you.
Well, the holy water also sucks, but the
only good thing about the holy water is that, like, there's some bosses and stuff where if you can throw it in the air and have them, like, stand in it, like where it's burning, they just get, like, feasted on. But it's too hard to. I agree. Team Axe. So okay, let's take a break here. I need to drink of water. Let's take a quick break. When we get back, I still want to blow smoke up this game's graphics and the music, and I don't know. We'll find more things. We'll be back in a second. Okay, I mentioned it before the break. It's hard to. I find it weird to praise graphics on the NES for the most part because it's the NES. But I still think, like, I think good-looking NES games are timeless, and I think Castlevania 1 is still a good-looking video game. But this isn't quite Super Mario Brothers 3 graphics, but this is a fucking crisp-looking video game, buddy.
It does look really fantastic. They take, like, the same engine and they really, like, pump out way more color. The amount of color used in this game is so appealing. Like when you're going through like the forest levels, the greens aren't like, barfy like they are in most NES games. They're
Yeah.
like vibrant and pretty to look at.
Yeah, I agree. And like it really feels like the levels feel different. Like when you're in the clock tower, it makes sense as to where you are. You see the gears everywhere and stuff. When you're in the forest, it looks like a forest. One of my least favorite levels is one where you go down and then there's all these flying red jellyfish. And they're fine as long as you keep moving, but once you stop to just fight jellyfish, then you're just fucked. They trap you.
Yeah.
But it looks
There's a,
really crisp.
there's also one that's like a scrolling up level where you're on stairs and you're trying to like climb the stairs faster than the screen scrolls up, but there's also a bunch of knights on platforms. And
Yeah,
that I just like the ingenuity that they're adding to the NES. Like I know scrolling levels aren't incredibly innovative for the NES, but for what they were doing with the scrolling upward, I thought it was neat.
agreed. Yeah. Yeah, I honestly like the design of just about it. Like it's a lot of returning sprites, like a lot of similar enemies. Enemies you've already fought before, the Medusa heads, the fucking bats, the skeletons, those little I still don't know what they are, the little monkey guys that fucking jump around that drive me crazy.
Boo!
But
Did you get to the level where like the angels would like fly in, throw a spear, and drop one of those guys?
oh fuck, I don't think so.
Boo!
Yeah, but
Boo that
I can
part!
feel my heart just fucking pounding at the
You're just
idea of getting
upset
to them.
hearing about it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But I like that. I love I like it's so funny to I find it weird to praise backgrounds because I need to like you need to be focusing, especially when you're playing a game as hard as Castlevania. Like you need to be focusing on the enemies, you need to be focusing on where the holes are, you're gonna fall into and stuff like that. But it's almost impossible to not occasionally take a moment and just look at the background. And I may be incorrect, but I want to say near the end or near like the middle of the game, you can actually see the castle in the background as you're like approaching it, which is
Yeah,
really fucking cool. Like that's
yeah.
it's those little things, you know?
And then once you're in the castle, what I really like is that a lot of the sprites and a lot of the way the castle's set up is all throwback to the original Castlevania. So like it feels like you're in the same castle with a slightly
Yeah.
different layout.
Yeah. I honestly can't think of a lot of games from as far back as like 1989, 1990 where there's like fan service because there wasn't enough to service yet.
Yeah, totally.
You know, like it's like everyone brings up the sunken ship in Super Mario World being like one of the crashed airships from Super Mario Brothers 3, which is great and awesome fan service and stuff. But like if I'm not mistaken, Super Mario Brothers 3 doesn't really reference Super Mario Brothers that often.
No,
Whereas
no, I,
like
I I don't think so.
this one, they're like, no, clearly like this is in the same universe. Like I thought that was just really I love all the only gripe I have with any of the graphics in this game again goes back to the fucking stairs and my occasional not paying attention to where the stairs start. To just hold down to fucking start walking down them. Oh fuck. Or you try to walk down or up the stairs, but then you're also like, have you ever been in a position where you're trying to use your special weapon? So you're holding up and hitting B, and then all you're doing is climbing the fucking stairs instead of attacking? Oh
And
my
then you
god.
get hit.
And then you get hit because the fucking stairs. They make me so mad. Fuck.
I also really love. I think it's like in one of the first levels. There's like that level where you're climbing. I don't love the stairs aspect of this. You're climbing all those stairs, but there's the stained glass windows in the background, and they look amazing. Like it looks
Yeah.
really, really effective.
Yeah. And then it's like little things that like we've all become so used to and take it for granted, but like parts where there's like the swinging pendulum of a clock and you jump on it and ride it across and jump off it. Like those little things that again, by like 1989 NES standards are fucking pretty impressive.
Yeah, like
And
diversifying the gameplay was really what they were trying to do here, while also like invoking the people who loved the original.
yeah. And what's wild is that they have 4 playable characters that all to limited extents play differently from each other. And they were able to make these levels work with like all the characters. Because if you have a character with you and then you run into a different character, it gives you the option to choose. Or if you don't have a character and you run into one, it gives you the option to choose if you want to bring them with you or not. And as far as I know, I don't know if I'll ever see one, but as far as I know, the endings change based on who you've got with you and stuff like that. But the fact that they were able to design all these levels and not have them broken by the various characters, especially when one of the characters can fly, is that's like I know I've said it on this podcast before. I can't remember where I first came up, but like these developers back in the late 80s, early 90s that were making these games that are so old by today's standards, the ones that really went above and beyond and put the extra little attention to detail and really spit shined and really polished and like there's a reason Super Mario Brothers 3, Mega Man 2 and 3, Castlevania, Contra, like the Mike Tyson's Punch Out, like the all-time great NES games will always be great. And it's just because there was so much attention to detail and these little things done. And this was a really, really like I'm blown away at how ambitious this fucking game is for an NES game. It's
And I
really
feel like
impressive.
the way they stuck the landing in this game makes this probably one of gaming's first really cohesive trilogies. Like Mario 1 through 3 is not a cohesive trilogy.
Absolutely not.
Zelda 1 through 3 is not a cohesive trilogy. This, and I would probably say also like Ninja Gaiden, are like probably the earliest examples of cohesive trilogies that would eventually lead to things like Dead Space and Gears of War and Uncharted.
Yeah, well said. So here's a question for you then. If they, because when I think if you go to a casual gamer and you're like, hey man, what do you think of Castlevania on the NES? Like a Castlevania game on the NES, I think their first thought is going to be about the difficulty.
Too hard.
Like that's
yep.
the first thing that jumps out at you is how like I love these games, and the first thing that jumps out at me is how tough they are. I wonder if they had made them easier, would they be more popular? Because people could actually
Ooh.
beat them and see the endings and see the continuity, or would they be less popular because people would be like, well, they're too easy? I don't.
Oh, this is
Because
the Dark Souls debate.
Yeah, like you're right. Because like I fucking detest Dark Souls,
I
but I
agree.
know the people that love them because of that. That I love tough games. They don't click with me. But like when it comes to the NES, most of my favorite games are the Mega Mans, the Castlevanias, the Contras. I like them. I like my NES games hard. And I look at Castlevania and I think that like, sure, it's great that they have the continuity and they try to tie them into each other and everything. But I'm like, I just like a tough, well played video game, and I think the difficulty is part of the charm
I
of
agree.
Castlevania.
I think I agree. I think they could have maybe eased back on this one a little, but even then, like I think there still is like a sense of replayability. Like even if you're like, oh, I've bungled this entire run, you can go back and start again and have a totally different experience. So I don't think the difficulty hinders it. I just think maybe this one's a bit harder than it needed to be.
I am like, I'm a little bit shocked that they didn't put like a normal mode and a hard mode in this one, because at this point some games were. Mega Man 2 had it. Like there's a few. But I also think like this is a pretty big fucking game. So then to have to go through and redesign every level again based on the hard difficulty versus the normal difficulty, when at the end of the day, I hate to keep harping on it, but like at the end of the day, I would be willing to bet you 30 to 40% of the collective deaths of everyone that's ever played this game on the NES were from getting hit once, even with full health, and getting knocked back through a hole. And I don't know how you get rid of that with the difficulty unless you eliminate the knockback, which, while I want them to, I think if you gave me the power to do it, I'd be like, I can't, because it's part of the game. It has to have the knockback.
There is like ways to make the game easier. You can like add the amount of players, I think up to 9 with a password.
Yes, yeah, you can put in like a different username and get more lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I love that you were able to name your character in this game.
Me too. Minor thing, but it's still a nice touch.
I always love to do that. What did you name your guy?
Always Hoju. That's what I name
Hoju.
every character in every game is Hoju.
I try and make my usernames in games as silly as possible. And unfortunately, SpongeBob didn't fit, so my character was SpongeBo.
SpongeBob. That's like Thrill Ho.
It's almost as funny as SpongeBob.
And all I've done is enter my name, SpongeBob. Oh fuck, that's awesome. I didn't notice it because I was just using save states, and I don't smash save states to like I'm not gonna throw any shade. It irritates me when gatekeepers are like, oh, if you use save states, you're a piece of shit, and like that bothers me. But I personally, like when I play these types of games, I only use save states for the sake of I don't have to leave my NES on and turn off the TV and hope my mom doesn't catch me. I can just save it and then pick it up and play it later.
I'll also like selectively put save states in a place where I'm like, it would be reasonable if there was a continue here.
Sure. But like, did this one, and I can't, so the reason I brought that up is because I've been Googling it, trying to find a definitive answer for the last couple of minutes while we've been talking. Did this one have passwords? I feel like it did.
Yeah, this game does have passwords.
Yeah, I never used one because I just had God bless saves. Save states killed the password.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are there. They are there.
But God bless any old game that had fucking passwords. Like, it was just, man, oh man. We didn't, to sit down and have the time to beat this in one sitting, I mean, I guess once you're really good. But I don't know. Dude, on YouTube right here, Castlevania 3 walkthrough, 100% guide, 1 hour and 38 minutes. So, like, it needs to be hard because otherwise you're going to beat it in 2 hours. But instead it becomes like an 80-hour fucking odyssey because this game just keeps feeding you your own ass.
Yeah, I get my ass handed to me. Like, if I'm being honest, in most Castlevania games, but I just find that the gameplay is so engaging, and I'm such a big fan of like old, like 1930s, 1940s horror that all the like callbacks are so fun to me.
Sure. See, and that's interesting because I like that. That's why, like, because that means nothing to me. Like, I don't know those. I just like that they're good, tough old games. I will never get bored of playing tough 8-bit games.
Yeah,
there's something
you know what?
about
Me neither.
The simplicity of them, you know, and I love
there's
it.
A handful of them I'll never beat. There's like Mike Tyson. He's elusive to me forever. I feel sad that I can't beat Mike Tyson, but Jake Paul can. That really bums me out.
You know what? If I had to fight fucking 50-year-old Mike Tyson, like if they release,
it might be a fair fight.
Yeah. On the Switch successor, they have a new Punch Out. It features old man Mike Tyson with his ass hanging out. I might be able to beat that guy.
They should make a new Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and then after you beat Mike Tyson, you have to beat Jake Paul, the champion.
That'd be sick. Yeah. What else? So we talked about the passwords. We talked about naming them, the graphics. I'm looking at pictures of this right now. Like, what a good looking fucking. And you know what's funny is that it's dark. Like, it's a dark game, but it doesn't seem like boring dark.
They use a lot of shadows. Like, there's one level that I really noted where there's like just shadows of mountains in the background, and you can kind of see like a little bit of glimmer of snow on the side, but it looks great. It's
the same as I'm very proud of myself. A couple of months ago, I beat Batman on the NES for the first time. Which
You're a legend. You're a hero.
It took me over a year of practicing to fucking finally beat that game. But it does the same thing as this in the sense of like it is a really, really dark game with a lot of black and dark gray colors in the background, but it never looks ugly.
Yeah,
it's just good game developers that know how to use what they have, you know.
Boy, they feel really similar. Is that also a Konami game?
No, that one was, I think, Sunsoft.
Oh, you know what? You're right. It is Sunsoft.
Yeah,
but like, boy, yeah, like the way you move in that game is like really like similar, like how it's really kind of heavy, but you feel powerful.
Yeah. And what's wild too with like, and it's the same with Castlevania 1, but I didn't run into a single instance of like lag and slowdown.
Oh yeah, me neither. They
wild.
Clearly figured out how to handle this stuff on the NES. There's times where there's like a lot of stuff coming at you on one screen, and it runs really smoothly.
Yeah. Plus all the colors and the backgrounds and stuff as well.
That being said, I wonder if maybe they just cleaned that sort of stuff up on the Castlevania collection, because that's where I played it.
That's true. I mean, well, to be fair though, like I've been playing the ROM on my NES Mini, and it's run smooth.
Which would have that,
yeah, and it's run really smooth. So
no, maybe they just maybe I'm wrong. They just figured it out.
Maybe just good. They made a good pie.
Good game design.
The last thing I want to shout out before we start looking at how we're going to score this thing is, and it's like at this point I frankly have come to expect it. So if the soundtrack wasn't good, I'd almost be upset. But boy, it's fucking good. I love Castlevania soundtracks. I love them so much.
They all slam. They're all really like illustrative of the game itself. Like I agree. This is a banging soundtrack.
Yeah, I would argue these are the like. I know there's other quote unquote horror games on the NES, like your Friday the 13th and your Nightmare on Elm Streets and etc., so on and so forth. But like they really do a good job, at least in Castlevania 1 and 3, of like this really feels like NES. Is it like it feels like NES Dead Space or NES Resident Evil? Like I look at the Castlevania games and I'm like, for my money, these are the definitive horror games on the NES.
I agree, 100%.
Like these are the Halloween NES games.
NES Resident Evil is probably the best way you could describe this game.
Yeah. And it's not just the skeletons and the ghouls and the mummies and Dracula and that kind of stuff, but it is those graphics. It is the dark graphics that somehow don't seem dark, even though they are. And it is that fucking music, the way it sounds like an organ almost at times and shit. Like it's so, oh my God. I don't know what to, again, outside of the stairs, I don't know if I have a criticism.
It's
Like-
this is an extremely solid Castlevania game, and I am so glad that you gave me the opportunity to play it again because I did forget how good it is.
Yeah.
I still think that the Metroidvania games are wholly better. Like Symphony of the Night and Area of Sorrow are like are the two best Castlevania games. But this are Bloodlines, man. I don't know. I'm having a hard time because I feel like it's Bloodlines, but even then, I'm backing off on that a little.
It's kind of a cop-out bitch answer, but like I really feel like if you want to, you can split Castlevania into two different. You can be like, there's the old school side-scrolling Castlevania 1, Castlevania 3, Super Castlevania, Bloodlines, etc. And then you have the more Metroidvania, Aria of Sorrow, Symphony of the Night. Like I feel like Symphony of the Night kind of changed the direction of the franchise and really made it into more of that Metroid. I've heard that Castlevania 2 is a Metroidvania, but like Symphony of the Night, as much as I have my qualms with Symphony of the Night, I'm not ignorant enough to deny that it is like the grandfather of Metroidvania games.
I also
love
think there's
so much.
there's like a third subcategory that nobody talks about, which is the Lords of Shadow games. And I get why we don't talk about it, but they're still there. Have some respect.
What's that?
Lords of Shadow was the games. There was 3 of them, and they were Xbox 360 games. And the 2 are like kind of like God of War ripoffs. And then there was one Metroidvania that's actually the best of the 3.
Okay. Yeah, I'm interested, but I haven't.
If you ever want to talk about a Castlevania game I don't like, let's talk Lords of Shadow.
Oh, buddy, I don't like. So here's a little inside baseball. Like when I have a game I want to cover on the show, if there's like a regular guest that I just haven't had on in a while, I'll message them. But like most of my guests have like kind of carved themselves out a little bit of a niche and the genres and the franchises and the systems that they know the best, that they like the best. And when it comes to Castlevania, I don't even message anybody else. I'm just like, Bradley will do it. Like I assume that when you're not on the show talking Castlevania or playing a Castlevania game to get ready for the show, I assume you just go into like a deep Dracula-esque slumber.
That is
and just wait for the next one.
Again, something I'm not legally allowed to talk about, but it's not wrong. Yeah.
I don't know. Like I really would like to talk more about this, but at the end of the day, listen, great fucking game, but it's an NES game without multiplayer. You have 4 different characters. You go down a bunch of different routes. It's really hard. You probably won't beat it, and then you'll play it again. Like I don't know what else really is to say about it. It's just a game needs to really shine to crack my top 10 NES games of all time at this point, because I've been playing the NES for 35 years. This one I'd have to sit down and look at my list, but I think Castlevania 3 sneaks into my top 10 now.
I would say it's this is probably personally my favorite NES game that doesn't have Mario in the title.
Is that right, eh?
Yeah, because you got to protect the Mario 1 through 3 as well as Mario is missing.
Oh, you fuck. Like my top NES games are made up of like Mario, Mega Man, Contra, Batman.
Mega Man 2 might also. Or actually, I like Mega Man 3 a little bit better.
Me too. I like 3 a little better than 2. And Castlevania 3, I said 48 minutes ago, like I really think you either think this is one of the best games on the NES or you just haven't played it. Spectacular.
Or you're not good enough to play it.
Yeah. Which I am not. When I decided I was going to beat Castlevania 1, that took months. And I was like, I'm just going to keep playing and I'm going to get good and I can beat it. And I want to believe in my heart that I could do this with this one, but I'm not convinced I can. Like this really is fucking, this game will fuck you up.
It is
But
truly unreasonable, this game.
Keith's like it makes Contra look like a walk in the park. Like
One of
holy
these days, I will beat this game.
me too. I'm
Actually, I'll probably play it right after this and see if I can. I'm on like block 8 or 9, I think.
So you're
And
close.
So and I think there's 10.
You'll get there.
So maybe that's what I'll do this after. If I can tear myself from Balatro, which I think is not.
Oh,
true.
buddy. How good is that fucking game, hey?
It's unbelievable. I can't stop playing it.
The game is
all I want to do.
It is a drug. It is fucking unreal, yeah.
I bought it like 3 days ago, and it's all I've done.
One guy made that fucking game.
Unbelievable. I hope it wins
yeah.
Game of the Year. And people who are bitching about it can shut up.
Yeah, I think it's got a genuine. I don't think it wins Game of the Year, but I hope it does. Like I don't think it will, but I'm excited to see that it made the ballot. And I would as it is just being on the ballot, it's going to sell more copies.
Okay, completely off topic, but what do you think will win Game of the Year?
I don't want to spoil it because I got to do my award show in a couple of months, but I have a few contenders right now, but if you were to put a gun to my head, I think Astrobot is.
That's what I think too.
Yeah, that game is. I know Mark has been he will not shut up about Metaphor.
Yeah, I really want to play that game. It looks like a banger. But
yeah.
I'm in my like second last semester of university. I don't have 100 hours to give right now.
Oh, buddy. I literally play video games for my fucking job and I don't have time to play fucking Metaphor. Those games, Mark has been up my ass for years to be like, we got to do Persona on the show. And I was like, buddy, if you can somehow pause the universe for a month so I have time to play it, I'll do it. Because I put like 40 hours into Persona 4, loved it, and then looked up a walkthrough and saw that I wasn't even halfway through the game. And I was like, this isn't happening. Like, I like you, but you're too needy.
The funniest thing you could do now is to sneak play Persona 4 and then do the episode with me.
Yeah, oh fuck. Mark he'd fucking drive up from Calgary and go full blown Fallout Boy on my ass.
Give you the beats.
I haven't heard that phrase in forever. Give him the beats. That's good shit. Okay, let's score this thing. Castlevania 3. It was set. I had it here. I had a scale brought up, and then I fucking left my Wikipedia page. Give me a minute here. I had it. Yep.
17.
Yeah, I wanted to go by the scale of the number of years it was before the first game.
Oh.
Where the fuck was it? I had it here.
That information I do not have just in my brain.
Yeah. Oh, maybe it's not on the Wikipedia page. I thought it was. The year is 1476. But I don't know what year Castlevania takes place. So let's just go 1476.
1476, perfect.
That's a good scale. All right. So then out of 1476, what would you give Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse?
1476. I am going to say that I give 1,402 out of 1476.
All right. It's only 74 points off a perfect score, which sounds like a lot, but that's a nice score, though.
That's a 95%. I just did the math.
Nice. Yeah, I almost like I'm gonna go 1420, partially because of the implied
420. Yeah, that's very
yes,
fun.
but also just like I would give it like a 9.5. Like it loses the Super Mario World tax, and outside of that, I have no qualms with this game. This is a must play. And if you don't want to go and buy a physical copy, which I get because I've been keeping an eye on one and it's not cheap, the Castlevania collection is probably on sale right now. It goes on sale all the time on everything for like $5 Canadian.
It was free on Epic Games like 2 weeks ago as well.
Oh, well, there you go. I will never not endorse both the Castlevania and the Contra collections when you can get them on sale for like $5 or $6. I have them on both my Steam Deck and my Switch. They're must plays. They're great.
The Advanced collection is also amazing.
Yeah. To this, I know people are going to yell at me, but like to this day, the only Castlevania I've played, if you take away Castlevania 2, because I still don't understand it, The only one that I haven't just madly fallen in love with is Symphony of the Night. And that's mostly because that fucking castle, which I will not move off. That castle was bullshit. That hidden castle was bullshit. I'm sorry.
It's an absolutely insane opinion, but that's fine.
I've heard it. I get death threats. People are like, you don't like Symphony of the Night? I'll give you a fucking Symphony of the Night. But Castlevania 3, Castlevania Bloodlines, Castlevania or Super Castlevania 4, Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. Just a great franchise, man.
Really, really good.
And
Dawn of Sorrow on DS is also, in my opinion, the best Nintendo DS game.
I wanted to. Oh, is that right? Wow. I don't know what my pick for best DS game would be.
It's not a great library, if I'm being honest, but Dawn of Sorrow is probably the best one.
It's a quantity over quality thing for sure.
Yeah.
Before we fuck, now I remember what I was going to ask you now. God damn it. It probably doesn't matter. Probably was a dumb question. Bradley, if people want to find more of your shenanigans, where could they do such a thing?
You can just follow me on Instagram at The Gaming Odyssey, or you can follow me on Twitch that I do sometimes 3 in a week and sometimes not for a month and a half. Twitch.tv/Video Game Odyssey.
Beauty. And those links are in the description of this podcast, presuming I remember to put them there, which is my job. Right. So hopefully I did. Buddy, listen, I know the schedule of the show for the remainder of 2024, and with all due respect and much love to you, I don't think you're on the slate. So you're welcome back here in the new year. You're welcome back here as long as you'll keep coming back. Thanks for all the time you've spent playing old games for the sake of talking about them with me on this show. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, my man. Thanks for having me.
And that is going to do it for this week's episode, Bradley. As always, thank you so much for giving me a call and talking a little bit of Castlevania 3. I appreciate it. And every single one of you nerds listening to this right now, whether this was your first to remember the game, your 318th, maybe your 209th, whatever the fuck number it is, thank you. I know there's so many retro gaming shows out there, a lot of good retro gaming shows, a lot of bad ones, but a lot of good ones. And then you stumbled on our The Porridge is Just Right podcast. Well, that warms my heart. Thank you so much, everybody. Leave us a nice review. Would you? I don't know. That's what I'm going to ask for Christmas. Just leave us a good review. And you know what? Even if you make it 5 stars, you could be like, Adam's a piece of shit. I don't care. Just make it the 5 stars. It's the stars that matter. I don't even know what the stars fucking do, but I'm supposed to ask for them. Oh yeah, and I guess like if you're feeling extra ornery, you could become a Patreon. Because I'll give you tons of podcasts in exchange for $3. That'll be fun. Patreon.com/remember the game. I don't really think I've got much else to plug. Bradley's stuff is in the chat. Check that out. Or in the description of this, I mean. Check that out. We have merch. RememberTheGamePodcast.com. I have a Cameo. You can find that if you want me to send a message to someone telling them to go fuck themselves. I can do that. I think we're done. Yeah, I'm good. I have to record another podcast in 21 minutes. So I'm going to get the fuck out of here. Thanks some Patreons and then go record that other podcast. Thanks for listening, everybody. If you're a patron, we'll be back tomorrow talking about modern games that would make great 8-bit and 16-bit games. The Rambling Idiot on Friday and a whole other slab of shows next week, including Remember the Game 319, which if the stars align, will be about Mega Man Battle Network, an often requested game that I have been playing over the last month or so, and I am ready to talk about. But that's next week. This is this week. Thanks for listening. I'm thanking Patreons. Get out of here. See you. So long. Remember the Game is brought to you by our Patreons. I could not puke up all this content every week without all of your support. The following people are the senior executive vice president level or higher at patreon.com/rememberthegame, and as such, I am contractually obligated to say their names as quickly as I possibly can. So in order from newest to oldest Patreon. Yes, that makes sense. A huge thank you to Buttfucker, Fancy Store-Bought Dirt, Horrorstalgia, a podcast, Akiris Network, Jinxie425, Benjamin Barry, Thunderleaps, Rest in Peace Koopalings, Doogie Bowser MD, Captain Asberry Juice, Zen Paladin, Lord Salazar, Travis Sanders, MacGyver88, Combo Chuck, The Grim Patron, Savage Boosh, Super Science Safarioth, Dazerath, Leo, Crystal Lake Management, Shank the Rat-Faced Bastard, Ryan Stemmerding, Adam's former assistant, Captain Steve N, Super Jess, VOS Rager, Wilco, McCracken, Justin Blair, Diablo Spartan, Theodore, David Schroeder, Krusty's Clogger, Darbles, Eric Hopewell, S, Z-Train 22, Spider Cat, Alex McIntyre, Scotty McGee, Toby OP, Nothing Could Possibly Go Wrong, Daddy's Secret Little Chubby, Ryan Whitcomb, ID Yellow, Big Daddy Randall, Mr. Jabroni, Ace McGuy, Elephant Calves, Chaz Hammond, Put It in H, Cody Thompson, Liquor Like Luigi, Fill Up My Mouth with Farts, Cesar, Plow King, Matt Zeus, Blast Processing Won the War, All Hail Sega, Bula, Blobby Rogers, Brian Richmond, Sabin, Robbie Ayer, Jay Callahan, Adam Blank still hasn't reviewed Mario Galaxy, Shoeboxers, Mark Sneed, E-Man Trucker, Fill Up My Farts with Mouth, The Supreme Chozorizo, Fallen Snow Kiku, Penguin Milk, B Money, Mellow Yellow 8787, Chris Hill is a master tromboner, Carbon Fiber Zombie, Benjamin Atkins, Tristan Anderson, Faded Sufferance, Alex Ramos, Sour Goat Face, Max Sandin, Frosty Bear, Lucas Shaman, Roger Staubach Spool Cleaner, Lord Longrod von Hugendom II, Marcus Mendoza, Infini Rage, Because 19, Beers of War, Lord Palmerston, Leroy Jenkins, Nordak, Can't Destroyer, Kevin Monroe, Ryan Donahue, The Big Deal, Adam Martinet, Youngster TK, Nick Creature, Postman, Darth Skywalter, Rated Excellent, Just Car Pranks, Itchy Nutsuru, Alex R, Ryan Perry, Ted Explosion, Hot Lips Houlihan, Alexander Camps, Works for Me, voice cracked everywhere here. AB Killin, Monstrous the Boner, Kia Pup, Brandon DeZeba, Maverick, T-Bear 87, Tadpole, Big the Cat, Zamatos, Christopher Britt, Quiet Place Queen, Burt Macklin, Hitchy Poo, Beef Dingleberry, My Left Nut, Timothy Sabrinsky, Graham Kennedy, Musty Beetle, Maverick Marty, Christian Gabriel, Wimp 15, Timmy the Exuberant Turtle, Isaiah, Squeaknut, Sleeper Hit, The Fletchman, Nerdy Hybrid, Donnie the Dude Walter, Sam Carpenter, Jugs Bad, okay, John of the Adult Children Podcast, James Juan Francesco, Max Lagroom, I canceled my Netflix to afford the shout out, General Fury, Cody Richardson, Coda, Insensitivity Training Blaze, Oroku Saki's Gardener, Jimothy, High Plains Drifter, Hego Waffle, Earl, Archangel Otaku, Scary Terry, Blaine the Hoagie Man, Why the Surgeon's Not a Surgeon Row, a dude named Adam, Decoy Man, Fuzzy 99, Dan Fusselman, Gabe, Matt Babineau, Stud Still Smash, Rush's Dog Walker, Leroy Westrich, Thomas Smith, Beaver Boy, Growly Wog, Laces Out Dan, Biddy, Jake Carter, Joe the Sandman, Phil Lencher, Tyler, Juris Dr. Mario, Mizuru, Dude Where's My Game, Standard Ass Brian, Steve Dulk, DBXJ, Madam Nutsich, It's That Nerd James, Elijah Burns, Chugger22, Triple, Zach Shepard, Holmes, Adam Blank still hasn't reviewed Dragon Ball, it cuts off, I don't know what that says, Dragon Ball Legends, Just a Fish, Randy Barrage, John Woodruff, Daniel, Jeff Bergeron, Zonko 504, Squints, Johnny from Virginia, Wolf Magic 21, Doogie, Andy Hudson, Wolfgang Darren, Mercury 869, G9PSX, Mike Maloney, Ryan Kinchin, Zane Donovan, Morgan, JSK Fusick, Aaron Lawson, Scott Brooks, No One Cares, Dave Thompson, Angry Ticks, Lil Bunny Fufu 89, Angry Eldest Millennial, Confused But Still Here, Jordan, Andrew Wright, Chris Fleury, Doug Dorn, Dan of Dissect That Film, Dave McGee, James Clark, I Like Jorts, They're comfy and easy to wear, Jane Nasty 15, Sharonic, Joe Buck, Makeshift Mallow Magic Money, and of course, remember the game, Hall of Famer, Slick fucking Rick. Take it easy, everybody. Cheers.